Alrighty, folks. I want to have a conversation with somebody who's been in the real estate business about 20 years, like I have, who was borrowing money in the last cycle and has borrowed a lot of money in this cycle. The reason
Uh-huh.
I want to have this conversation is neither the lumberjack or I are mortgage brokers.
Mm-mm.
Neither him or I have any secret access
Nope.
to pools of market data or tranches or any of this nonsense.
Nope.
But what I want to talk about is what was it like borrowing money, signing loan docs last experience, and what is it like this time? Because I think there's a growing, I don't know, message that the existing loan products like DSCR loans are going to be just like subprime, blow up and cause a housing crash. As someone who has no data behind the scenes, but
Mhm.
has borrowed millions of dollars, I thought we should have an honest discussion because maybe there are some yellow and maybe some red flags. Buddy, how you doing?
I'm doing super awesome. I think this is a great topic to cover.
So the first thing we should do is we should just go back and say the Big Short was right. Right. The mortgage lent borrowing process in '05, '06, '07, '08 was laughable.
Awful,
Laughable.
awful,
Awful.
awful.
Right. I seriously remember signing a blank loan application and the broker telling me it was okay. Everybody's doing it. I'm like, I don't, the answer was, we have your file. We'll fill it in for you. I'm like, I didn't know any different, right? I think I was buying my fourth or fifth house. I'm not the mortgage broker. They're the
Sure.
licensor or whatever, right? I'm like, I guess this is what we
Tell me what
do.
I gotta do. I'll do it.
Yeah, it's like I was just following the rules. And that obviously went on in spades in lots and lots of areas. What do you remember about the lending, borrowing money, I don't know, what is that, 15 years ago?
Yeah. I mean, it was no, yeah, 15, 16. Yep. Or
Something like that.
17. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah. I mean, it was, I could never get those liar loans. I was really bummed. I was just like, why are my friends getting these loans with zero money down? They're all but getting paid to close, and I got to bring 20 points to the table. This sucks.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was, is I probably, if I were in those shoes, I probably would have walked away from the two properties that I got.
Yeah. Of
Because if it
course.
was
You had no
like, I
equity.
get it, like a business decision, like strategic default, like I
Yeah.
here I would have done that. Here it would have been hard, but here I would have done it.
Oh, for sure.
And so in doing those deals, it was, you know, when you're doing 20% down, like the bank was all but giddy and ready to do it. I remember literally being such a noob telling my mortgage broker, listen, just figure out how this, I know I want this property. You need to figure out how to get it appraised for the number that I need.
Yep.
I'm like, I'm an idiot. Like that's so completely counterintuitive. No. Hit it hard, hit it low.
Yeah. I'll
Like give me
renegotiate.
the right. That gives me the opportunity to negotiate. Instead, I'm just like, whatever it is, find value, find value. Here's the opportunity, find value. And I'm like, and all I did was make sure that I bought this piece of crap that 13 years
Oh,
later I still sold for a loss.
yeah. Think about that. You sold it for a loss after 13 years.
13 years.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That thing was a huge loser. Oh my
Yeah.
word. What
But
a
let's talk again. I want to go back to it because again, it is very important. If we're going to have an honest discussion about the mortgage experience now versus then, we have to understand then. So not only was lending stupid easy,
yeah.
leverage, right? You were
Oh,
talking about doing 20% down. I was doing 80, 10, 10s. So I was doing 80%
oh,
first, 10%
right.
seconds, 10% down.
Yes. Yep.
And then you were talking about a lot of owner occupants or frankly investors were lying. They were doing 100,
Yep.
103%. Folks,
Yep.
people were getting loans for 103% and
Yeah.
walking away with money.
Yep.
That was last time. So
Yeah.
if we want to talk about the collection of kindling that was set up last time that
Yeah.
became the great financial crisis, because what right now people are saying great financial crisis 2.0 is around the corner.
Yeah.
I need you to understand just how wicked and massive the fraud and bad loans were.
Yeah.
What am I missing anything else about that time?
Pick your payment loans.
Oh, now illegal. Now you can't
Yep.
do them. Nagam
Yeah.
loans.
The pick your payments. So it was 2 years. And in that first 2 years, you could literally pick your payment and your payment could be as little as $1.
Yeah. They would shove it on the back of the loan
Correct.
because prices only went up.
Only ever. And
That was
so a
funny.
lot of people bought into those loans because they could live there for a year and a half and they would have spent $18
Yeah.
plus property taxes basically
Yeah.
to live in the home. But you're talking a few $100 a month. And then it was like, okay, well, now all of that is going to be refactored after the 2 years.
Yeah.
And now my payment's going to go up 1,000 or $1,500 a month. And I certainly can't afford that. And so why would I stay? And so
Yeah.
it was literally, that financial engineering is what you always have to be concerned about. And that's where I look at this market, and there's just a whole lot less of that.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say about last time, because it is important, you just hit it. They were, whatever reason, we just flipped to doing adjustable rate mortgages, ARMs.
Yep. Yep.
And again, the loan was fine from 06 to 07 to 08 when it was at the low. I don't remember a dollar payment, but I remember being 50% of regular payments and sticking the delta on the back. Either way, it was crazy, crazy, not good, and illegal now.
Yep.
But now let's fast forward to today, because there's a lot of people saying that DSCR loans are just like kind of the Alt A subprime loans of last time. And while I certainly see some similarities, I think we need to talk about the deltas first,
Mhm.
because the DSCR loans that I have seen to date are at least 20% down,
Correct.
and many of them are 25 or 30% down. That's a hell of a lot different than 103%, loan to value ratios.
With
So
the
there's
exception.
equity.
So yes, it's absolutely so. A normal vanilla DSCR loan is not going to be the problem.
Right.
The pocket in DSCR that will be a problem are the CLTV loans.
Yes.
Those
Combined loan to
loans are going to be
value.
a problem because that's a combined loan to value, CLTV. And so there were a number of companies out there that offered 100% CLTV.
Ooh, 100.
100% CLTVs.
That's not
So
good.
so you could do 50% from the seller, or excuse me,
Yeah.
50% from the bank, and then 50% from the seller. But here's the thing, Mike, does that create a financial crisis for the bank?
No, not at
Doesn't.
all.
What it does is it wipes
Assuming
out.
they're in first position, but yeah,
Well, if it's a DSCR loan, from
they're in
everything that I've
first.
seen, they're going to be in first.
They're being
So
first.
the issue really becomes, I think that there's a lot of people that are holding paper on an asset. It's going to be near worthless when the market goes down 20% if it's a
Well,
CLT loan paper.
yeah, that's the key in all of this. And the other thing that I think is wrong about DSCR loans is, again, maybe if you're watching this and you have this data, I would love to see it. I'd love to know the loan volume, not the dollar amount. I believe that exists out there. I want to know the number of transactions.
Yeah.
Because again, if you go back to the foreclosure crisis, I think we did like 6 million foreclosures in the last crisis, or 6.8, or some just ungodly number.
Yep.
But I have a sneaky suspicion we've done maybe 1 million or less of these kind of aggressive DSCR loans. And the other thing about the DSCR loans, and I actually have a couple. I have a couple of DSCR loans sub 4%, fixed 30 years.
Right.
So let's just say you took an aggressive DSCR loan in 2021, which I did, but the payment is fixed for 30 years at 399. I don't give a rat's ass if the value falls. I'm fine. I'm not going
Doesn't
anywhere.
matter. Well,
Doesn't
and
matter.
that's the issue, right? Is that for them to unload your paper, they're going to have to pay.
Yeah, they're gonna have to take a haircut, a discount, right? I'm not selling. Me, the owner, I'm good, right? If you want to discount the paper because you're not liquid, that's on you.
But when they sell that, they're going to take the haircut. When they take the haircut, that directly impacts their
Their
money
bundle or
supply.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
their
Like,
liquidity. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So again, I'm trying to think about these DSCR loans because again, I think I'm on record, right? I believe there's a bunch of financial engineers and syndications that are going to crush
Heck
people
yeah.
and commercial real
Yep.
estate's done. I
Yep.
believe there's a bunch of people that thought Airbnb arbitrage and Airbnb was the quick path to wealth and they're going to get hurt. So I think there's a lot of pain coming to certain type of investors who thought real estate was easy. Dude, real estate investing is never easy.
No.
If anybody comes to you and promises easy, run away.
Absolutely.
And I think there's a lot of Airbnbs that took DSCR loans that did AirDNA kind of rent forecast nonsense that are going to get smoked.
Yep.
And I do think there are some pockets maybe around Dollywood that are going to get smoked. But I don't think there's enough spread around the country that causes a housing crash. I just don't see it.
No, I mean, I still think it's going to be localized. I still think it's going to be, the question is, right, when the CDOs and the MBSs back in the late 2000 vintage stuff,
Yeah.
once you got to an 8% default rate, it was basically useless, right? The bond was useless.
Yep.
So the question is what is that rate of CLTV loans that any DSCR lender has? If they have, 100% of those CLTV loans, and then the DSCR lender that's 5% of their business, then even if they all default or majority default, then they're probably fine. If it was,
yeah, but also they have
okay,
more equity. Let's be clear. So the answer is
correct.
not going to be 8% because the bundle last time was full up, right? There was
Correct.
probably
It's fully
3%
loaded.
equity.
You're
Was
exactly
fully
right.
loaded.
The
Now we're 22%, 20%. I mean, there's a whole equity spread.
the other issue is that in most cases, Mike, they sold them as a bundle to insurance
Oh, yeah.
agencies.
Yeah.
So then the
exactly.
insurance agency, right, who's paying a servicer right now that's servicing the loan,
Yep.
they're going to be paying them to essentially service non-productive, money loss loans. So based on what the acquisition cost was, to the to the fund, to the insurance company, that's where again I see that for them, even if they have to foreclose on something, it's 50, 60,
Yeah. This is like the
70%.
commercial stuff. This is like the commercial market with a slight twist. In the commercial market, we're going to hear about ungodly losses.
Yeah.
But a large percentage of that will be the equity.
Exactly. Well, and the only issue that you have is that anything that's second position, you're FUBAR. You're in. And
so
so
second,
if I'm carrying paper, but it's in second position, like I'm going to do a seller finance deal right now.
Yep.
I am holding all the paper.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to hold the paper. I'm going to hold
100%.
100% of the paper.
Right.
But 80% of the value of the deal.
Done.
Or 75.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But that's it.
Right.
Like, and I am the only one that owns the paper. No one else can come in behind me. I don't care who they are, what they want, doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I guess at the end of the day, when you look at the mortgage market today, I think it's fair to say we got over our skis in certain parts of the market, no question. Sure. I think doing air DNA kind of forward-looking guidance nonsense is going to hurt a lot of people because today's different than yesterday. That's going to prove to be painful. I do think a lot of people have options. They can go midterm. They can go other options. So I don't think it's going to be this fire sale. I also think today we have a lot more equity in deals. I also think, and again, the numbers show it, a lot more fixed rate. So if you're an operator in 2020, 2021, and you got a loan at 5% or less, you have a lot more options than last time. Last time these payments would go from 1.9% to 9.9.
Yeah.
It's just like from affordable to unaffordable and like, oh, I'm out. That's not happening today. Right. I think people will be able to certainly hold on longer. And the strategic default item will be a lot less because, again, there's equity, right? You may not get all of your equity back, but if you could sell for the same price, you'll get 12% back after commissions and all of that.
Yeah.
I think I just don't see the same mountain of pain than last time.
And if you look at the other mortgages too, right? You're talking about the adjustable rate mortgages. That's what was the downfall back in the late 2000s.
I've got to be very clear. Adjustable rate, full up equity. It was that 100%. Toxic combination.
Yep. But so we look at things now and we say, okay, a majority of these went Fannie Freddie, so 3.5% down. Okay.
Yep.
That's so low down payment, 3.5% down. The issue is that only 2% of the deals being done were ARMs. 2% in 2020. It was like
that's a lifesaver.
3 or 4% in 21.
It's up to like 9% today, but yes.
And so even now it's only 9% of the market. Back then, Mike, how much was it?
Oh, 51% was the worst year.
Exactly. It was 51% of the deals being done were low down payment and adjustable rate mortgages.
Ugh.
This debt looks nothing like that. It's even now with the run up over the last 4 years, the run up, we are at 9% of ARMs.
Exactly.
The run up's 9%. That means, and so we have, so the stuff that was, 2% of the mortgage market on ARMs, that's going to be a fart. No one's going to care.
Yeah, noise.
3 and 4% in 21 and 22?
Yeah,
Who
because
cares?
2% arms, there's actually good reasons. Like if you're a financial, like if you're a wealthy guy or what, there are great reasons to get arms. So 2%'s like, that probably makes sense, right? But
Right.
yeah,
But that's where you
nothing.
look at it and you look at what's the activity, the stuff that's being done now. Is it a
Yeah.
little bit more scary? Sure.
Yes,
But let's think about it
absolutely.
this way.
Yeah.
It's usually 3 and 5 year debt. So it's 9% now in 2023. That means 2024, they're fine. 2025, they're fine. 2026, they're fine. But 2027, okay, maybe
Yeah.
now rates are still
Yeah.
high. You got
Yeah.
something to worry about. So you have to
Yeah.
hope that rates are going to adjust between now and then. And then
That's a
that makes your call correct, not a median housing, but it makes your call correct on the next 10 years basically being a level
just
flat.
sideways,
Yeah,
flat,
sideways.
flat,
Yep.
flat, 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 flat. Yeah. So I look forward to having these conversations. I spoke with the wonderful Melody. I forget. I think it's Melody Wright. I follow her on Twitter. She has experience in the mortgage industry. I look forward to having this detailed conversation with her. She's got insights that I frankly don't have, and experience I don't have. So I look forward to talking to Melody more about this in detail. But when I think about broad picture and I try to compare what I think is some very risky loans today with what was clearly risky loans last time, the volume is not even close. And near as I can tell, the risk level, not even close. But that said, there will be pain. There will be pain. I think the equity loss is going to be a lot worse than the debt loss of last time. It just makes sense. So, Matt,
Sure.
where can people find you?
Lumberjack Landlord on YouTube and on Instagram. We're going to be doing lots of details about the jail project over the
Yeah.
next 9 months. And Mike and I did a video on that. And live stream Sundays, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time for free.
And he will be a speaker at the mastermind or party or event in Vegas, February 17th and 18th, President's Day weekend. Thanks, buddy.
I will be.